Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight, it was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. Oh boy, what's up everybody? It's Toad back with you, Bettor Off Dead. Wednesday? Is that what it is? Wednesday, August 20th, I think, yeah. Whatever it is. Trying to be a little bit more soft-spoken here, man. I gotta get my voice back to do my ukulele. We were 3-0 on the show, 3-1 on the show yesterday. What am I saying? Houston, Detroit, under. That was pretty easy. As the teams didn't score any runs in the entirety of the 9 innings of play. So I was like, well, as long as we don't get like a ridiculous, 4-3 outcome in extra innings or something completely insane like that. No, it was a 1-0 game. I think Detroit with the wins. That was the easiest win that you could possibly have on an under. Oh, we did not get the other under right. St. Louis and Miami. Gonna ask for my money back from Edward Cabrera because he was terrible in the game. McGreevy held up his end of the bargain. Edward Cabrera was not good. The bullpens didn't really help us out in that one either, so that was a bad one. I apologize for that. The other two, though, White Sox, that made me look pretty smart. The White Sox hanging around in that game early in the game, and then they exploded for 5 runs. It was a back-and-forth game, man. They were losing by 1 run. They were ahead by 1 run. Losing by 1 run again. I think they were down 2-1, up 3-2, down 4-3, all in the first 4 innings of the game. And then top of the 5th, they had a 5-run outburst to take an 8-4 lead, and then that is what carried through the 5th inning. So we got what looked like a pretty easy win there. And then the White Sox wound up not winning the game at all. In the entirety of the game, they lost by 1. Although if you went run line on the full game and took them plus 1.5, that would have also still been a winner. So winners all around nonetheless. But White Sox first 5 innings, the fact that they were up by that much at the end of 5 made me look good. It was definitely got the pitching matchup right in that one. Smith outpitched Elder, who is terrible. And then Cincinnati, maybe I should have gone first 5 on that one, but it's like, why would you ever want to exclude Anaheim's bullpen from an equation when you're fading Anaheim? I mean, their bullpen stinks. Cincinnati had some of their best relievers still available, and they blew the game. It was looking like that was going to be a loss as the road favorite. I mean, wouldn't have been good. It would have been a losing day if Cincinnati lost. That's how razor thin this stuff is, man. It wound up being a pretty good day, and it could have been a losing day otherwise. Cincinnati did have a 4-1 lead, I think, in the middle of the game. They were definitely winning. It might have been 3-0 maybe after 5, something like that. They were up 4-1. I believe going to the bottom of the 7th inning or something like that, and then they give up enough runs to tie the game by the end of regulation, I guess, or by the end of 9 innings, I guess. I think it went to 10 innings, and Cincinnati wound up winning with 2 runs in the top of the 10th. So it was a winner. I mean, I think it was a deserved winner nonetheless, even though their bullpen almost gave us another bad beat there. But I'll definitely take a 3-1 day there. Andrew, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Tupac, yeah, that brings me back to the 90s gangster rap, man. Let's get into today here. We're going to go with the rundown here. Let's do it. Even though we're going to talk about WNBA first, which I should have given out a play on the Liberty yesterday. I mean, that was probably my strongest lean in the WNBA yesterday, and it wound up being a correct call on the Liberty. They finally got a win over Minnesota in revenge, but today we only have one game. It's Dallas at LA. Not really an interesting game at all. LA up from 7.5 to 8. Somewhat high total here, up to 181.5. I mean, really high total, actually, because LA doesn't play any defense. I mean, we have two teams that don't really play particularly good defense here. LA, I mean, they're still fighting to try to make the playoffs here, even though they're in second to last place in the West. The West is a pretty difficult conference, so I think LA might still be able to make the playoffs. I mean, they're in this cluster here with Golden State, Seattle. Probably they're the worst of all of those teams, though, but I think they're going to be showing up to try to win these games. However, it is a quick revenge spot for Dallas because LA did just go into Dallas and beat them 2 games ago. And they are returning home from the East Coast, so that's never really that easy to do that. It was a shorter road trip, like duration-wise, but they did still go to Washington. Returning home, you do have to get back to home life. You know, it could be a bit of a distraction. So, conflicting factors in this game. I'm not going to recommend a play on this game at all. Dallas coming off a couple straight losses. Could be a revenge spot for them. Their travel spot is actually better. They're only going from Vegas to LA, so I actually don't necessarily hate Dallas plus the points in that game, but it is a higher spread, a higher total, so it doesn't mean it's easier to cover like a higher spread as a favorite. LA does still have the motivation, like I said. Not going to be a play at all that I would recommend. I recommend staying far, far away from that game. And where are the dildos, man? We still don't have dildos for like a week now in the WNBA. What's going on with that? Let's get into baseball. I'm going to have 3 plays today, and they're all sides. 2 money lines, one where I don't even think we know who one of the starting pitchers is, and I don't even care. And the other is going to be a spread play, but they're all sides. We do have an early 12:35 p.m. Eastern to kick it off. This is Wednesday, so it's getaway day for some of these teams, basically, or some of these teams are going to be traveling, potentially having a day off tomorrow, but sometimes not having a day off and having to start a new series. Some teams are continuing their series into tomorrow, so it's Wednesday is always a weird baseball day, man, but Toronto-Pittsburgh is the first game up here. Pittsburgh got the first game of the series with Paul Skeens on the mound, and then Toronto bounced back with a win yesterday, as Toronto is obviously the better of these two teams. There's no question about that. Toronto's the better offense significantly. I'll give Toronto a bullpen edge as well here. Pittsburgh used a little bit more of their pen yesterday as well, more pitches at least. So Toronto definitely has an edge there. They probably have the edge across the board here, starting pitching as well. Chris Bassett is on the mound for them, even though he's started to slide a little bit. I mean, as I was saying, I didn't think he was as good as his numbers, especially his ERA looked earlier in the season. I mean, he is still an aging pitcher. I mean, he is smart with his pitches. He throws a lot of different fastballs, but doesn't throw that hard. He's been getting a lot of run support behind him, too. He's got a 4.22 ERA, 1.33 whip, so his whip is definitely higher than I would like to see. He's actually been really bad on the road, 6.39 road ERA, so he's not really a guy you want to look to on the road. And this month, his walk rate has gone way up. After last month, he had a really good walk rate. This month, 11-9 strikeout walk ratio, multiple walks in all 3 outings. Not a good sign, especially when 2 of them are against weak offenses, Kansas City, Texas. You can forgive him for a bad start against LA, which I think I gave out a play on LA in that game, if I remember correctly. But these other 2 appearances, not totally forgivable, especially allowing 3 earned runs, 4 walks to Texas in 5 innings last time out. That's not great. Although Pittsburgh is the worst offense in all of baseball, and Bassett does have good numbers against them. 56 at-bats, 20 strikeouts, 3 walks, really good ratio there. 214 average allowed him 504 OPS, so he really does hold Pittsburgh down, so he may very well bounce back in this game. So I will still give him the edge over Johan Oviedo, who's the listed starter for the Pirates here, but he's basically a relief pitcher, man. He has an 18 ERA and a 5 whip, but obviously it's a very small sample size. He's literally pitched 1 inning in the majors this season. It was earlier in August, and it was not good, obviously. He went 1 inning, allowing 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts against a very bad San Francisco offense. That's not a good sign. If you look at Oviedo throughout his career, he's been around. I mean, he's been on 2 different teams, Cardinals, Pirates. Most of his appearances have actually been starts, but even so, I don't expect him to go deep into this game. His career numbers are bad, 4.36 ERA. quite a high 1.41 whip, so I'm not expecting a whole lot out of Oviedo here at all. He'll probably only get you a couple innings in this game, would be my guess, and then Pittsburgh will go to the bullpen, and they did use some of their longer relief men already yesterday, so that's not a good sign. Oviedo against Toronto, they actually have 18 at-bats against him, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, 333 batting average, and 873 OPS allowed, so Oviedo doesn't have good numbers against Toronto either, so I have to lean to Toronto in this game, but you're definitely going to have to pay a price. I mean, they're going to be a big road favorite. Actually, not as much as I thought, but they're up from minus 145 to minus 160. 92% of tickets, 94% of the cash on them. Total flipped to 8.5 juice to the over, but 71% of tickets on the over, 51% of the cash on the under. So it seems like the money coming back in on the under. I mean, I don't exactly see the under happening. It's hard to read the total here because you don't even know what Pittsburgh's pitching situation is even really going to look like here. I actually think Toronto on the side might be the better way to look at it. And I would probably actually say maybe Toronto just going over their team total rather than trying to like lay a run line with them or anything like that might be the better way to go. But you could lay a run line with them as well. I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but that's certainly not going to be a game that I would recommend to play on. Continuing in the afternoon slate, Seattle, Philadelphia. Pretty interesting series. Philadelphia's won the first 2 games of the series. Will they overlook Seattle because this is the end of the series? They get tomorrow off, but they only have Washington up next, and they did beat Washington the last time they played them. At least the last game they played them, they beat them. They split a series with them last time, but still, I don't think Washington is really much of a look ahead. Washington's terrible, so Philly may continue to concentrate on this pretty big interleague series against Seattle here. I think both teams will continue to show up here. We have Seattle with the bullpen edge here. Seattle has the better of the 2 bullpens, and they're pretty rested as well because they hardly used anybody on Monday. The Phillies bullpen is fairly well rested as well here, so the bullpens are both pretty intact, but Seattle does have the better bullpen. Philly has the better offense of the 2, especially at home, although both teams can hit pretty well. So then we got to look at the starting pitching matchup, and we have Luis Castillo for Seattle, who's been doing pretty well. I mean, he's a pretty consistent pitcher. He's been around for quite a while. 3.48 ERA, 1.22 whip, although he is worse away from Seattle, as basically all of their starters are. 4.92 ERA on the road, so he's not as good on the road. He was rolling along, pitching pretty well for a while, for over a month span. He hadn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any start for quite a while, going back to late June until his most recent start where he got pretty beat up by the Mets. He allowed 3 home runs, 6 earned runs, 9 hits in 4 innings. So he got hit pretty hard in that game, which is not a good sign. Although he still looks like he had his command with 5 strikeouts and only 1 walk. And we do know the Mets do have the ability to hit. So maybe that's a little bit of a blip, but I am a little bit more concerned because he actually didn't even go 5 innings against Texas earlier in the month in August and wasn't efficient at all with his pitches in that one. So I am worried that 2 of his last 3 starts, he hasn't even made it 5 innings. Still does have a 14-2 strikeout walk ratio over that span, though, so his command has still been good. So do I think he's going to do poorly in this game? I think it's hard to gauge, man. His numbers are not very good against Philadelphia. I mean, they're a good offense. 93 at-bats. They have 7 homers off him, 27 strikeouts, 12 walks. So it's a lot of strikeouts and a lot of walks. 301 and a lot of home runs, really. 301 batting average allowed, 983 OPS. So Castillo has not done particularly well against them. Kyle Schwarber, in particular, actually does a lot of damage. 6 for 20, 2 doubles, 4 home runs, and 4 walks against them. So you could look for some player prop potential there with Schwarber. I always recommend hits plus runs plus RBIs instead of total bases because that way the walks can still help you potentially. Jesus Luzardo pitching for the Phillies. He's had a very up and down season. 4.21 ERA, 1.34 whip. He's actually worse at home, so both pitchers actually are on the bad side of their home road splits. 5.23 ERA at home, not good. He was good early in the season, really good actually, and then he hit a really rough stretch. And then he's bounced back again for the last 4 starts. He's gone at least 6 innings in all 4, allowing 3 or fewer earned runs in all 4, and he has an 22-5 strikeout walk ratio over that span of 4 starts. So that's a decent sign. But he faced pretty much all bad offenses over that stretch. White Sox, Baltimore, Texas, Washington. He did walk 3 guys in his most recent outing. So Luzardo, I mean, he's definitely back in better form right now, but he was facing bad offenses. Seattle's a little bit better than that, and his numbers against Seattle are not good. In 56 at-bats, 13-8 strikeout walk ratio, 339 average allowed, .833 OPS. So I could see this game going over the total, man. I mean, it's pretty hard to gauge the side on this one. It looks like I saw some indicators that the money was actually coming in on Seattle, but on pregame here, excuse me, Wager Talk. Wager Talk is a better site, though. It has better handicappers there, but pregame has a better odds screen, which is what I use all the time here. Philly up from -135 to -146. 74% of tickets, 94% of the cash on Philly. So this odds screen looks like the money is actually coming in on the Philadelphia side. I actually somewhat lean that way, but not a whole lot, just because it looks like both starters are kind of in their bad splits here. So I actually think the over is the better way to look at this game. You have at least one fairly bad bullpen in Philly here. Both starters are on the bad side of their splits and don't have good matchup numbers. So I think over is the right way to look here. The total's gone up from 8.5 to 8.5 with juice on the over. So it looks like the money's agreeing with me. If you want to go over, you want to try to get it, it's still 8.5. I would probably go up to about -120 to get it over the 8.5. 9 is a key number, man. I mean, I would still probably go over the 9 if you wanted to play this game, because at least if it hits 9, it'll push. But obviously, the odd numbers are key in baseball because that's how you break a tie. 77% of tickets on the over, 98% of the cash on the over. But yeah, I think rather than try to figure out the side, I do think the over is the right way to look at that game. It's tempting to actually give out a play on the over. I do not actually have a play on the over in that one, but it's tempting. Houston at Detroit. This is a big series as well, man. I mean, all these teams that I just mentioned, well, I should have mentioned, I always try to mention motivation. Like, Toronto has something to play for. Pittsburgh does not. You know, I mean, Pittsburgh, maybe they'll play hard just because a good team is in their house, but Toronto playing to try to win the AL East right now. Seattle, Philadelphia, both fighting to get into the playoffs and maintain their positioning. Houston, Detroit, same thing. I mean, these are two teams that are probably playoff bound. Want to make sure of that. Detroit has won the first 2 games of the series, and Houston hasn't even scored in the series. So I gave out the under on the show yesterday. It was a great pitching matchup between Brown and Skubal. No runs were scored in the first 9 innings of the game. Detroit wound up getting that win, so they've outscored Houston 11-0 in the series. Houston's offense has gone completely cold. Does that mean they're going to continue to be cold here? I'm not so sure. But we do have a couple of okay bullpens here. Not a lot of usage between either team. Actually, Houston does have more usage, excuse me. They didn't have much usage the prior day. That's what I was thinking of. So Detroit is the more rested bullpen, although if you look at the pitching stats, I believe Houston's bullpen is the better ERA-wise. So that kind of balances out a little bit with the rest scenario. So both bullpens sort of almost a wash in this game. Offenses, I think maybe a little bit of a wash as well. You have 2 decent offenses. Detroit, the slight edge OPS-wise. But then you got to look at the starting pitching matchup, man. On the surface, it looks like Houston has the way better starter on the mound with Framber Valdez. He's the one who's having the way better season. 3.01 ERA, 1.18 whip. He's been worse on the road, though. 4.22 ERA on the road, so he's definitely more hittable on the road. And he's been a little bit worse recently after he had that stretch where I think Houston won 12, 13 starts in a row behind him, something like that. He was pitching very, very well. Then he lost the game where he still pitched really well against Washington, gave up 1 earned run. But his 3 starts this month have been rough. 5.89 ERA this month, 10-6 strikeout walk ratio. He's allowed 3 or more earned runs in all 3 starts, so that's bad. But the 2 starts where he really did bad were on the road against Boston and the Yankees. So those are pretty difficult lineups to face, especially on the road. So maybe you give Valdez a little bit of a pass for that. And remember, against Boston, I talked about that game. All of the runs were scored in 1 inning that got prolonged by an error. So I don't even think it was really Valdez's fault that much. Really, the only start where he was really that bad was Yankees, where he walked 4 guys. Most recent start, he bounced back a little bit. Went 6 2/3 against Baltimore, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. Still allowed 3 earned runs, gave up 9 hits. There was an error there that prolonged his outing there too. But I think he's kind of coming back into form a little bit here. His numbers are decent against Detroit in 91 at-bats, 23-10 strikeout walk ratio, 264 average. He's held him to a fairly low 677 OPS. So Valdez does do pretty well against Detroit. He's going up against Charlie Morton, whose season has definitely been like a tale of 2 seasons. His overall numbers are bad, 5.2 ERA, 1.5 whip. I mean, he's definitely old, but he's still proven that he can pitch effectively, man, which is kind of crazy. His stats are basically the same home and away, although he also was on Baltimore for most of the season. He's only made 1 home start at Detroit, and it wasn't good. Since being acquired by Detroit, he's made 3 starts. 2 of them were good against Philly, which is a good sign. He went to Philly and he gave up 1 run in 6 innings against them. 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. That was good. At Minnesota, he shut them out for 6 innings, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks. So overall, a good start there as well. Had 1 really bad start at home in between. Gave up 6 earned runs to Anaheim. But in that start, he actually had 10 strikeouts and 1 walk. So it's kind of hard to gauge what that start was because he was striking out so many guys. He was fooling hitters, but then he was also getting hit. Very, very strange start out of Morton there. But overall, his numbers, not really that bad with Detroit. 21-5 strikeout walk ratio, 3.86 ERA with them. And remember, with Baltimore, he was pitching really, really poorly. Baltimore had lost, I think, 12 outings in a row, 12 games in a row where he had appeared in the game. Some of them were starts. Some of them were out of the bullpen. They sent him to the bullpen because he was so bad. He came back into the rotation, and then since he rejoined the Baltimore rotation, he was actually really good, except for 1 bad start at the A's, which you got kind of give him a pass for because it's a very hitter-friendly park. But other than that, he was allowing 3 or fewer earned runs consistently every single outing, except for 1 at Tampa, which is another hitter-friendly ballpark there. So you can kind of give him a pass for that too. And then really the only bad start that was kind of inexplicable was his first home start with Detroit, and maybe he had some nerves, like pitching in front of the home crowd, whatever. So does that mean Morton is going to pitch well in this game? He actually might, and his numbers are not good against, or his numbers are good against Houston, in 71 at bats. He's really held Houston pretty much down, 25-8 strikeout walk ratio, 211 batting average, 682 OPS is a little bit higher than you would expect based on the other numbers. So that's because Altuve has 2 home runs off him, and Walker does have 1 as well. But overall, Morton does have good numbers against him. So this game, I mean, to me, it's kind of looking like another under game to me. The total's gone up from 8 to 8.5, though. 58% of tickets on the under, 61% of the cash on the over. It doesn't look like as much of an under as yesterday, although, of course, yesterday almost looked too easy for it to be an under, but it was a 7 total yesterday. But I could see both these pitchers kind of rounding back into form here because they have good matchup numbers against these offenses. I could potentially also see the pitchers not quite doing as well because they're not in exactly the greatest form right now. So it's very difficult to gauge this game. As far as the side, it looks like Houston is a public road favorite, up from -117 to -120. Public kind of fading Charlie Morton, I think, because I think you'd see more of the public on Detroit otherwise because they've been kind of a public team this season, especially because their offense has been better than Houston. And in the series, Detroit's been better offensively, so it's kind of weird to see the public taking Houston. 68% of tickets on Houston, 62% of the cash, though. So the money indicators seem to be taking Detroit as the home underdog, which home underdogs have done fairly well in baseball. Just they do well generally, but this year they've done pretty well as well. So we will see what happens. That's not a game I have a play on either. Cleveland at Arizona. Very, very weird series here, man. Arizona, I mean, they know they're out of it. Cleveland kind of technically still has hope because they're above 500. But Cleveland, I mean, they sold guys off at the trade deadline, and they had those gambling issues, so it's kind of weird that Cleveland started going on like a really weird run. I said yesterday I thought it was going to be a higher scoring game and go over, which I believe it did. Arizona lost the first game of the series, and then they won yesterday. 2 close games. But the fact that Arizona broke a loss streak yesterday could give them some momentum coming into this game. So schedule-wise, it doesn't look that bad for Arizona here. Arizona does have the worst of the 2 bullpens, however. I mean, that's not saying much. Arizona's bullpen's bad, but they're fairly well rested right now, really. A couple of their pitchers threw very few pitches yesterday. Kind of the same with Cleveland, though. 3 of the 4 relievers they used yesterday only threw single-digit pitches, so they're probably available again today. So the bullpen scenario, you got to give the bullpen edge to Cleveland. Arizona obviously has the way better offense. Starting pitching, interesting. Cleveland has Parker Messick pitching, and he's actually making his major league debut. He is a lefty. He's a 6-foot lefty, and I looked at his numbers. He's kind of shot through the minors pretty quickly, man. He's pretty young, 24 years old. In the minors this year, his numbers are decent. In AAA, I look at AAA. AAA, he has like a 3-something ERA and I believe like a 1.2 whip, which isn't that great, but it's not bad. And his strikeout walk ratio is pretty good. He does have a high strikeout rate, like well over 1 strikeout per inning. So he is striking out guys. Looking at his profile, like I went to look at his, I always try to look at the scouting report for these guys to see what they throw. He does not throw hard. He throws like low 90s fastball. And the way that he gets guys out is off-speed stuff and movement. Like I guess he has a good changeup that has a lot of movement on it, curveball. And I think he has one other pitch. I think he has like a slider / cutter. It's some sort of moving fastball. So that's basically what his arsenal is. So it's a decent enough arsenal that maybe he could be able to stick in a major league rotation. I don't think he's great, but he might be able to do okay at the major league level. Of course, he might have a little bit of an extra edge here because Arizona's never seen him before. So with these young pitchers, they can have the upper hand early on in a game with the hitters having to adjust and try to figure them out. We'll see how it translates, man, because Arizona is a good offense, too. So we'll see. Brandon Pfaadt is pitching for Arizona. He has not had a good season. 5.08 ERA, 1.36 whip. He's been way better at home, though. 3.76 ERA at home, surprisingly, because it's a hitter-friendly park. Hasn't done that well this month, though, with a 4.86 ERA, 10-5 strikeout walk ratio in 3 outings. Not a good sign, especially given that 2 of the 3 outings are against Colorado, although granted one of them was at Coors Field. And he hasn't allowed more than 4 earned runs in any of these outings, but he's been giving up a lot of hits, well over 1 hit per inning. Strikeout rate is down, walk rate is up a little bit. He's giving up too many runs. Really not a good sign, man, for Pfaadt. He's not really in good form right now, but he does have good numbers against Cleveland, and this is a pretty pathetic Cleveland offense. Even though I know they had some offensive outbursts recently, they're not good. 26 at-bats Pfaadt has against them, 7-4 strikeout walk ratio, not good. 231 batting average allowed, 641 OPS, so he does actually have good numbers against them. So, interestingly, because Pfaadt does have good numbers at home, more or less, good numbers against Cleveland, I'm actually kind of thinking that first 5 under might make sense here with an unknown pitcher going for Cleveland that might have the upper edge early on. Wouldn't want to deal with the bullpens in this game, really. Totals at 9. 95% of tickets, 99% of the cash on the over. I don't buy that cash percentage, but you would be fading the public if you went under in this one, but I would do it probably first 5. And then the money looks like it's strongly coming in on Cleveland. Arizona down from -135 to -113. 67% of tickets on them, but 61% of the cash coming in on the Cleveland side. So the money, pretty strong indicators on Cleveland. I think it all depends on how good you think Messick is going to be in this game. He could potentially come out and do really well. He is obviously the pitcher with the familiarity edge here, so that might make sense. And I do think Cleveland, because they do have the better bullpen, I think it would make sense if you are taking Cleveland to go full game on them, grabbing the underdog price there. We will see. I mean, it's not something I would really want to risk actually giving out a play on, but I don't necessarily disagree with it. St. Louis at Miami. Miami lost both games of the series so far. This might be a 4-game series. I'm not even sure. Let me see. What does St. Louis have next? Brought it up in the wrong window here. St. Louis, taking a look at their schedule real quick here. They're on the verge of potentially sweeping Miami. They have to go to Tampa Bay next, so they're staying in Florida, but not exactly a huge series, so not really exactly a look ahead, but they still might take Miami a little bit for granted after beating them twice in the series here. St. Louis used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Miami used 2, so Miami a little bit more rested, but St. Louis does still have the better overall bullpen. Even after trading some guys away, I still think they probably have the better bullpen here. As far as the offense is concerned, I actually think Miami might have the better offense now. Let me see, where are they at? Yeah, slightly. So kind of a wash, though. But St. Louis, I do think, has a pitching edge in the bullpen, but do they have a pitching edge in the starting pitching? Difficult to say, actually. Andre Pallante pitching for the Cardinals here. He's not having a good season. 5.04 ERA, 1.38 whip. Those are not good numbers. He actually is a little bit better on the road. 4.73 road ERA. This past month, he hasn't exactly been good at all. 12-7 strikeout walk ratio, 9.26 ERA in the month of August. I mean, did have to face the Cubs and the Yankees, and they were both able to get to him, but those are 2 good offenses. So he is stepping down a class to face Miami. And last time he faced Miami, late July, he went 7 innings of shutout ball, only allowing 1 hit, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. So he actually does dominate Miami, even though it's a small sample size. And that does mean that Miami has now seen him, so they're more familiar with him. But they're only 1 for 21 off him with no extra base hits, no walks, and 3 strikeouts, this current Miami lineup. So Pallante does at least have really good matchup numbers against them. I don't know if we trust him with Miami having just seen him not that long ago, though. And that means the same thing probably for Sandy Alcantara, is pitching for the Marlins. I'll look in a second, but I think he probably also pitched in that series against St. Louis. He has bad numbers this year, man. Alcantara, again, I always reiterate, he's just a guy that's never really been able to bounce back from his injury issues that he's had, unfortunately, because he's still not even 30 yet. 6.31 ERA, 1.41 whip this year, not good. He's been better at home, though. 5.09 ERA, still not good, but better. This month, 16-6 strikeout walk ratio is not really that bad, but his team has lost all 3 of his starts, and he's allowed way too many runs. He has a 6 ERA over that span. I did face Houston, Boston. I mean, those are decent offenses. He actually pitched well in his last game out against Boston, though, at Fenway. 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 earned run allowed on 2 hits in 6 innings. So that was actually a good start. So that kind of shows that maybe he's coming back into form a little bit there with that start against Boston, because that's not an easy place to pitch, not an easy lineup to face, really. And his numbers are good against St. Louis, which I think he did pitch against them, late July. He went 5 innings of shutout ball against them, gave up 3 hits, 3 walks, though, 4 strikeouts. So he was a little bit inefficient pitch-wise, but he did still pitch pretty well in that game. And his numbers overall are good against St. Louis, which include that start, obviously. 36 at-bats, 10-6 strikeout walk ratio isn't exactly that good, but 222 average allowed, 667 OPS allowed. This game, interestingly, could kind of be a sneaky under. I know the under didn't hit yesterday. Maybe you don't want to have to deal with the bullpen. So we have 83% of tickets on the over, 67% of cash on the over. Total's kind of just sitting at 8, kind of heavily juiced to the over there. But I could see first 5 inning under. I mean, if you still wanted to go full game on it, the bullpens are somewhat rested as well. So I could see arguments for the under in this game, and that both pitchers, because their matchup numbers are actually pretty good, might pitch a little bit better. I worry a little bit because the offenses are recently familiar with the pitchers, though. And as far as the side, it looks like the money is backing Miami, even though they dropped from minus 125 to minus 119. 65% of tickets, 92% of the cash coming in on Miami. And I think the argument for that would probably basically be that Alcantara has a higher ceiling than Pallante. Like, I think Alcantara at his best is better than Pallante is at his best. So I think that's kind of the argument for that. But, I mean, that is certainly not going to be a game I'm going to touch. New York Mets at Washington. Washington has lost their last 2 games. They lost the first game of this series yesterday, 8-1. So Mets, I mean, Mets starting to play a little bit better now again. They won 3 games in a row after they were on a really bad stretch. So Mets still have something to play for, man. They're still trying to make the playoffs. I should have mentioned St. Louis and Miami are both still out of it. I mean, they are both out of it, and I mean, that's not really going to change. Mets are still playing for something, trying to get to the playoffs. Washington is not. So I figured I should mention that. The Mets have the better bullpen here. Washington's is really, really bad. The Mets, I think, have a pretty rested bullpen as well. Yeah, they've only used 1 relief pitcher in the last 2 days. So the Mets have a very rested bullpen coming into this one. Mets have the better offense as well. Starting pitching, you know the Mets are going to be a huge favorite. I mean, I still probably give the edge in the starting pitching to the Mets as well, just based on what these pitchers can do. The Mets have Kodai Senga pitching, 2.35 ERA, 1.23 whip on the season. I mean, those are pretty good numbers, even though the whip is a little bit higher than I'd like. He is a little bit better on the road, 2.19 ERA on the road. His problem has been walks, man. Before his last start, which was pretty good against Atlanta, went 5 2/3. Still was not efficient with his pitches there, though. 93 pitches, had 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, allowed 2 earned runs and 5 hits. Good outing overall. He's allowed only 3 earned runs across his last 2 starts, so they didn't make it 5 innings against Milwaukee. And those prior 2 starts, actually the prior 4 starts, he walked 3 or more guys in all of those outings. So his walk rate was very, very high, which is not a good sign. I mean, he's not very easily hittable. He does not allow a lot of hits, but he does walk way too many guys. So that's really Senga's issue. The walks are the issue, which isn't really a great thing. But overall, his numbers are good. Again, I think he's not as good as his numbers suggest. Against Washington, he does have pretty good numbers at 41 at-bats, 11-5 strikeout walk ratio is not exactly good. Again, His walk rate's too high, but 244 batting average allowed, 692 OPS allowed. So Senga does overall have pretty good numbers against Washington. He's going up against Brad Lord for Washington, who I can't figure this guy out at all. 3.26 ERA, 1.22 whip. He's got good numbers this year. Is a little bit worse at home with a 4 ERA at home. He was coming out of the bullpen for a lot of the season, making some long relief appearances as well, and then he joined the rotation, I think last month at some point, and in all of his recent starts, he hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any of them. And in his last 4 starts, he's gone at least 5 innings in 3 of the 4, including his most recent start where he allowed 2 earned runs in 6 innings against Philadelphia. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. So he actually pitched well against a really good Philly lineup, which was at home for Lord. But Lord I don't think he's as good as he looks here, man, but he is definitely pitching effectively right now at the very least. So he's not really a guy I exactly want to fade right now. I've tried to fade him a few times and mostly gotten caught in doing so. And his numbers against the Mets are actually good, although it's only 14 at bats, 3 hits, no extra base hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts, 214 average allowed, 429 OPS. So Lord actually has done well against the Mets in his career. So he might actually do well in this game. I mean, it's kind of crazy to say, but this game looks like it could potentially be an under as well. We have 81% of tickets on the over and only 53% of the cash on the over. The total went up a little bit to 9, but it's now juiced to the under. So if you like the under, you are getting a bigger number on that total on the under 9. I don't like Washington's bullpen at all, though, so I hesitate to go full game under. I would hesitate if I was looking at this game, which I'm not going to give out a play on this one. But first 5 inning under, just going with these starting pitching, just going with these starting pitchers might make more sense. And the Mets look like they're too public of a road favorite, man, too heavy a road favorite, down from minus 180 to minus 161, which I think is reverse line movement, even though we see 81% of tickets, 85% of the cash. On the Mets, I'm actually not sure I'm buying that percentage. I think the heavier money is probably taking a flyer on Washington here would be my guess. Because I just don't know that the Mets deserve to be that heavy a road favorite. Even with Senga on the mound, I'm not sure that Senga is as good as he looks, obviously. Chicago, Atlanta is going to be one of my plays, so I'll skip that one for now. Yankees at Tampa. Unfortunately, the Yankees beat them up yesterday and won easily. The Red Sox have now fallen behind the Yankees. Of course, I think the Yankees are still going to win the AL East. I mean, I don't think Toronto's as good as they look. Red Sox are just teasing us at this point. I mean, well, maybe I'll talk. Well, the Red Sox, are they even playing today or are they off today? Looks like they're off today, but usually every team plays on Wednesday. That's a little bit odd. But Red Sox, I mean, they tied the game in the 9th inning yesterday. I mean, they only had a 2-game series against Baltimore, I guess, for whatever reason, and they lost both games, I think, by 1 run each. Red Sox had the lead in the first game against Crochet, and then they blew Crochet's start. Last night, they were losing 3-1 in the 9th inning, and Red Sox newcomer Nathaniel Lowe hit a huge 2-run homer to tie the game in the bottom of the 9th. Everybody went crazy. I mean, I told you I think that pickup was actually good because they pretty much didn't have to do anything to get him. And then what did the Red Sox do? Yeah, they immediately blew it in extra innings. Absolutely bad. The Red Sox may very well not make the playoffs still, man, even though it almost looked like they were probably around 80% to make the playoffs not too long ago, but they're not doing well. But anyway, Red Sox aren't playing today. Yankees at Tampa Bay. Let's talk about this game. Yankees won, like I said, in blowout fashion. Easy win yesterday, 13-3, and they had 9 home runs in the game. The Yankees have done that twice this season, which I think is a record. I'm pretty sure they've had 2 games where their team has hit 9 home runs. It's kind of odd that they only scored 13 runs in a game where they hit 9 home runs, but man, that is ridiculous. This Tampa Bay Stadium is so home run conducive, man. It's Steinbrenner Field, which I told you is kind of odd that the Yankees are playing a road game in their own spring training stadium because it is the temporary home of the Rays, which is ridiculous. The Rays should still be the Devil Rays, by the way. I mean, people should stop being offended, even though I'm anti-Satanism here. I just think people are way too offended by everything. Devil Rays had a cooler logo, too, because it was the animal. But, oh, no, one of them killed, the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin or whatever, so we got to be, I don't know. We got to be careful about that, whatever. But now they're the Suns Rays, which is just totally lame. Anyway, Yankees used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. It was a blowout game, so They didn't have to use much of their pen. The Rays actually used more of their pen yesterday. They didn't use many the day before that. Rays generally do have the better bullpen out of these two teams, but in this game, they're a little bit less rested, so I don't know if they have as much of a bullpen advantage. Yankees obviously have the offensive edge here. Starting pitching, I probably would give the edge to Tampa, but I think both of these starting pitchers might actually do okay, although when we dive into this, we'll see that maybe Tampa should actually have the edge here starting pitching-wise. Cam Schlittler, pitching for the Yankees. Shile Schlittler. Oh, my God, Schlittler. Cam Schlittler, the rookie, pitching for the Yankees here. 3.94 ERA, 1.52 whip. So his whip is definitely too high, but he's a rookie. He started out a little shaky and he was walking too many guys, but he's actually settled down and his walk rate has gone down. I think he's a decent pitcher, man. I think he is going to turn into something pretty good. He's actually been a little bit better on the road. 3.6 ERA on the road. However, Tampa's stadium here, Cyber Field, is actually more similar to the Yankees stadium, so maybe he won't pitch quite as well in this stadium. Again, this month he's been better with a 15-5 strikeout walk ratio. 3 ERA, and he's got 5 innings in all these outings, which is decent. Against some not terrific offenses, though, and the Yankees did actually lose all 3 of these games, even though he gave up 2 or fewer earned runs in every single one of them. Yankees bullpen's certainly not good, but those starts are against somewhat weak offenses, Miami, Minnesota, and then Houston's not terrible. But Schlittler, I mean, how is he going to do against Tampa? I don't know, because Tampa was actually his worst start of the season was actually against Tampa at Yankee Stadium. It was the only start that he made that he didn't go 5 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, 4 walks, 7 hits, still had 5 strikeouts, which is good, but that was his worst start, man. So his numbers are actually not good against Tampa, and now that means Tampa has seen him before. So when these young pitchers come out, man, a lot of times they have an advantage in the first game that they face, where they face an opposing lineup, because the lineup has to kind of figure him out. But now that Tampa already did damage against him and they're familiar with him, that might be an advantage to Tampa. They have only 13 at-bats against him, but they have a 308 batting average, 976 OPS. Caminero hit a home run off him, and 3.3 strikeout walk ratio. Not really that great for Schlittler, so he might be fadeable in this particular game, man. JC, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. I don't know if Andrew's sticking around or not to talk about his Anaheim Angels later in the show here. I'm trying to get through these, man. With a little bit of a shorter baseball card, I should be able to get through this faster, and with basically no other sports on tap today. But it's taken a while, and I still have to get to all 3 of my bets as well. But I've gone through every game except one prior to this one so far. So Drew Rasmussen is pitching for Tampa Bay here. He's been their best starter, man. 2.6 ERA, 0.98 whip. A sub-1 whip is elite, man. I don't know if I would totally classify him as elite, but he's definitely doing well. He's been a little bit better at home. His home road splits are pretty insignificant, actually. He's been really good as of late. This month, he's allowed 1 earned run across 17 to third innings across 3 starts. 15 strikeouts, no walks, 11 hits allowed, a .52 ERA. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every outing going all the way back through the beginning of July. Although a couple of those were relief appearances, basically, or shortened starts or whatever they were, because I think they were gearing him up to pitch in the All-Star game. The thing about Rasmussen, he typically will go 5 or 6 innings in a start, and he won't throw that many pitches. As you can see here, they really have him on about an 80 pitch count every single outing, but sometimes he pitches so efficiently, he gets you through 6 innings. These recent outings, by the way, he's pitched against the Yankees, the Dodgers, at Yankee Stadium, by the way. Dodgers, Seattle, and A's at the A's Stadium, and he pitched pretty well in every single one of those games. So that's a decent sign. I mean, he's facing some pretty strong offenses there for the most part. Against the Yankees, who he's facing today, he went 5 innings in that most recent outing at Yankee Stadium. 2 earned runs allowed, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, 4 hits allowed. It was a pretty good outing for him, man. So I think he has the better matchup numbers here, even though, of course, the Yankees are familiar with him. Rasmussen is in somewhat better form right now as well. Again, he's so efficient with his pitches. He actually gets fairly deep in most of his outings without throwing a lot of pitches, which is actually good because that means he's not going to be overworked over the course of the season as well. So that's a good sign. They're managing him well. Tampa Bay does a lot of weird stuff with their pitching management, man. But Tampa Bay is out of it, whereas the Yankees are trying to fight to take over the AL East again and to make the playoffs, which unfortunately I do think they will definitely make the playoffs. Rasmussen against the Yankees, though, like I said, he has good numbers, and they're actually really good numbers. 56 at-bats. They only have 9 hits, no extra base hits, 23 strikeouts, 6 walks, 161 average, 403 OPS. So Rasmussen has done really well against the Yankees. So I would lean to Tampa Bay in this game, man. If you're worried about their bullpen being a little bit overworked, you could go Tampa first 5 innings. Just focus on Rasmussen versus Schlittler, especially if Rasmussen might only get you 5 innings in this game. I still kind of think Tampa's bullpen is still the better bullpen, though. So you could go Tampa full game if you wanted to. I'm not sure which one of those I actually prefer. Tampa's down a little bit on the money line for -115 and -113. But the Yankees look like a dreaded public road underdog. When you see a public road underdog like this, man, Yankees 72% of tickets, only 60% of the cash, and they're actually the underdog there. That means probably you want to be looking to that anti-public favorite, man. The public road underdog is a rare thing, man, and usually you want to fade that team. So the lean in that game would be to Tampa Bay. If you want to focus on the starting pitching, just go first 5 on that. A's at Minnesota. Minnesota lost the game yesterday to the A's to open the series, 6-3. Even though Joe Ryan was pitching, and I said I thought that game might be an under game, which I'm not sure that it went under because this is not at the A's stadium. This is at Minnesota. Jacob Lopez, I think, pitched pretty well again for the A's yesterday. But this pitching matchup is not as good as the one yesterday. The A's have the better offense of these two teams. Both of these teams are out of it, so they don't really have a whole lot to play for. Minnesota has a very rested bullpen, though. They pretty much ate up all the innings with Pearson Ole out of the bullpen yesterday. They didn't use any relievers the day before that, so basically all of their best relievers haven't been used the last 2 days. So their bullpen is not only the better bullpen anyway, even though the bullpen stinks. They're fairly rested. Although the A's bullpen is pretty well rested as well. They only used 2 relievers over the last 2 days as well. But Minnesota does have the better bullpen, even though both bullpens are not good. Starting pitching, I think you probably are going to give the edge to Minnesota as well here. JT Ginn is pitching for the A's. His numbers are not very good. 5.04 ERA, 1.32 whip. He's been better on the road, though. He's not very good in that A's stadium in Sacramento. It's very hitter-friendly. 3.29 ERA on the road. So he's better on the road. Hasn't been very good recently, though. He's failed to go 5 innings in 2 of his 3 starts this month. His team has lost all 3 of them. 2 of them were at home, though. And the one where he did make it 5 innings was on the road. It was a better start for him against Baltimore. So again, he's better on the road, but he does still have a 14-8 strikeout walk ratio and 9.53 ERA this month, which isn't good. He's not in good form right now, but he's on the road here where he is a little bit better, or significantly better, really, and Minnesota has actually never seen him before. So actually, Ginn might have a little bit of an edge here. He does have the home road splits in his favor here. And pitchers like this, I mean, he's not a good pitcher, though, but Minnesota not having a great offense either, and if they haven't seen Ginn before, they might struggle a little bit against him. So Ginn might actually pitch well here. He's going up against Bailey Ober, who doesn't have good numbers this year. 5.15 ERA, 1.35 whip from Minnesota. He's been better in the past, man. I always look at him, and his strikeout walk ratio tends to usually be pretty good, but this year he's struggled. He has been better at home, though. 4.57 ERA at home. So he has the better of the splits as well. So both starting pitchers actually have the better of the splits here. Ober, he was injured for a while, man. He was really, really getting lit up. Had a really, really bad month of June. Went on the injured list. And since he's come back, he's been a little bit better. Even though Minnesota continues to lose every one of his starts. They've lost 10 starts in a row of his going all the way back into May. But this month, he's gone 5 innings in all 3 of his outings. He's allowed 4 or fewer earned runs in all of them, at least. 12-2 strikeout walk ratio is not too bad. So he's at least been better recently. And did face Detroit last time, and it did fairly decently against them. 4 strikeouts, no walks. 3 earned runs allowed, 4 hits in 5 1/3. So that's not too bad. Against the A's, he actually has good numbers in 35 at-bats. It's not a big sample size, but 16 strikeouts, 1 walk. He has allowed 3 home runs to them. Ober does tend to allow too many home runs, but other than that, he's been pretty good against them. 171 batting average allowed, 652 OPS. A little bit higher than you'd think based on the other numbers, again, because of the home runs. So, again, I do think Ober might have a little bit of a starting pitching edge here. He's at least in the better form right now, but the money is coming in on the A's. Minnesota down from -122 to -116. 62% of the tickets on them. 57% of the cash coming in on the A's. So the money actually backing the A's here. A little bit strange to see that. The A's do have the better offense, at least. I think maybe because the total is pretty high. It's actually flipped to 9 juice to the over, so it's a pretty high total. Don't see percentages on the total yet, but I can see the first 5 in this game actually going under because Ginn is unfamiliar to Minnesota's offense, and Ober is pitching a little bit better. Does have good numbers against the A's, so I could see an argument for first 5 under. Obviously, I would not want to include the bullpens in that under, but I could see the argument for that. Texas, KC, and Milwaukee, Chicago. I'm going to have plays on both of those, so we'll do that right at the end. Dodgers at Colorado. Colorado won the first game of the series. I think the Dodgers might have been a little hungover after, I think, beating San Diego over the weekend. Then we kind of returned to form yesterday with the Dodgers winning 11-4 yesterday. Easy win for the Dodgers yesterday. As far as the pitching is concerned, Dodgers actually have the better of the 2 bullpens, and it's more well-rested right now as well. Hold on. I think I hear... It almost sounds like there's somebody downstairs in my house right now. What's going on here? That would be weird because I live alone. But no, I don't think so. Somebody's breaking in, man. That would be crazy if somebody broke in during one of my streams. Holy crap. Anyway, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. Dodgers, even though their bullpen's not good, they have the better bullpen. They're the more rested bullpen right now as well. We see here Colorado, very unrested bullpen. So it's a bad situation there for Colorado. Dodgers have the better offense too, but of course you're going to have to lay a huge price for the Dodgers. And you're paying a tax for Ohtani being the starter as well. Shohei Ohtani's starting, but of course ESPN's screwing us again, and they have Ohtani listed as a DH again instead of a starting pitcher. So you can't easily look at his pitching stats, so you can kind of look at what he's done recently. He's been going, I meant pitching. What am I doing here? He's been going a little bit longer into his games here, but the Dodgers have lost his last 3 starts. He's given up runs in each of his last 4 starts, actually. Last outing actually wasn't that good against Anaheim. He gave up 4 earned runs and 4 1/3, which is his longest outing so far. They kind of jumped up his pitch count a lot because he had only pitched in the 50s the prior 2 starts. They let him go 80 pitches in that game, so I don't know if that's a great sign or not, but he does still have a 15-0 strikeout walk ratio this month over his last 2 starts, so it hasn't all been bad for Ohtani. I mean, his career numbers suggest that he is still good. His season numbers are still good pitching-wise as well. He has a 3.47 ERA, and I don't even know, whatever his whip is not bad. Yeah, 1.08, so he is still pitching well. We can't see what his numbers are against the Rockies' offense because they show his offensive numbers against the Rockies pitchers, which he beats them up. But debatably, Ohtani should do fairly well in this game, I would say. But he is having to pitch at Coors Field here. Up against Tanner Gordon for the Rockies, he hasn't been very good. 7.98 ERA, I mean, to say the least. 7.98 ERA, 1.8 whip. He is better at home, shockingly. 5.54 ERA at home. Not a big sample size with him yet, but weird that he pitches better at home than on the road. Coors Field, not an easy place to pitch. He's been really bad this month, too, for the most part. 14.59 ERA. He settled down a little bit in his last outing, only giving up 3 earned runs to Arizona after he gave up 10 the prior start. And I think that was one of my overs that didn't hit in that most recent game, which go figure, because you'd figure that a lineup that just saw the guy would still hit well against him. But he's given up a lot of runs. The prior 3 starts, he gave up 6 or more earned runs in each of them. Failed to go more than 4 2/3 in any of those, so he's not exactly good. I don't think we have to belabor it that much, but the Dodgers have actually never seen him before for the most part, which is crazy. Only 2 of their hitters have seen him before, and they're 1 for 6 with a strikeout, so Gordon actually kind of has an unfamiliarity edge here, but it is the Dodgers. They're still a really good offense, so do I expect him to actually pitch well in this game? Not really. The Dodgers are just way too heavy a favorite, up from -290 to -295. I don't really see how you could find a way to play the Dodgers in this game, especially with Gordon being really unknown to them. The total up to 11.5 juice to the over, but 86% of tickets on the over and only 55% of the cash on the over. So the money looks like it's kind of playing the under here. I can kind of see an argument for that. I wouldn't want to go full game on that because the bullpens, I wouldn't trust either of them, especially Colorado's. But first 5 innings under, I could actually see that happening with Ohtani probably getting you through most of that stretch. He'll probably go at least 4 innings again in this one. And then Gordon actually being unfamiliar to the Dodgers, so I could see under being a sneaky way to play that, but it is Coors Field, so it's very dangerous to do that. Nate, what's up, man? I like baseball, man. It's very statistic oriented. Since I've been doing this, it's been my second best sport over a span of 2 decades, betting wise. So, and it's been my favorite sport for like my entire life, but they've ruined it with some of the recent rules here. And then, football. I will be talking about football. I don't know if I'm going to do a college football preview show at all because we do have week 0 coming up. I don't even know if I'm going to recommend any plays. There are only going to be like 5 games that I'm really going to talk about in week 0. I know I did have a play last year, but this year I don't know if I'm going to. In week 0, Cincinnati at Anaheim for Andrew here. Anaheim has lost the first 2 games of the series. Almost were able to do it yesterday and beat me because I had Cincinnati, and I definitely nailed the starting pitching matchup right in that game yesterday. Cincinnati's bullpen blew it for us, and then we still got out of there with the win. So Cincinnati's on the verge of potentially a sweep here. Cincinnati's still fighting for playoff positioning, though. They do have Arizona up next, so maybe they would look ahead to that a little bit, but I think Cincinnati, they need to win, man, because they're trying to get into the playoffs. Anaheim has nothing left to play for, and Anaheim has a really, really bad run differential. As I keep pointing out, they're not even as good as their record looks, and their record's not good. Cincinnati has the better of these 2 bullpens here. I think I lost my bullpen usage tab as well. What's going on here, man? Where's my bullpen usage? What happened to it? God damn it. I hate when this happens. I'm reopening all my closed tabs. Where is it? Oh, my God. Oh, there it is. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I accidentally closed it, I guess, along with the Rockies. Whatever. Anyway, let me see here. Bullpen usage-wise, Anaheim's the worst bullpen anyway. But they didn't use much of their bullpen yesterday. Cincinnati, I don't think used a ton of theirs either. Cincinnati, a little bit more bullpen usage. I think you still have to give Cincinnati the bullpen edge. The hitting edge is close, although Anaheim has a slight hitting edge. Pitching-wise, starting pitching, Nick Martinez is pitching for the Reds. He's had kind of an up-and-down year. He was really good early in the season. His overall numbers are still okay. He's been making some kind of short and or relief appearances this year, too. 4.73 ERA, 1.23 whip. So the whip isn't that bad, indicating his ERA maybe should be better than it is. A little bit better on the road, 4.52 ERA on the road. But he's been pretty awful this month in 3 starts, 6 ERA. 5-2 strikeout walk ratio is not very good after he was a little bit better the previous month, except for one really bad start against Miami. He'd gone 4 straight starts, allowing 2 or fewer earned runs. His team got him 6 straight wins in a row. His team won 6 of his starts in a row, I should say. This month, he only went 2 1/3 innings, though, against the Cubs, where I think that was actually a relief appearance. Gave up 2 earned runs. That wasn't a great appearance for him. He did have one good start against Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's very bad offense. He allowed 1 earned run in 7 innings there. Most recent start, he only lasted 2 2/3, gave up 5 earned runs on 9 hits. 1 strikeout, no walks against Milwaukee. I know Milwaukee's a good offense, but wasn't a good start for him. Martinez, I'm going to say he's not in great form right now. His numbers against Anaheim are okay in 31 at-bats. 4-4 strikeout walk ratio is not great. 2 home runs allowed, not great, but almost all that damage is from Mike Trout. Trout has 2 home runs, 3 walks against him, so virtually all the rest of Anaheim's hitters have done nothing off him. Overall, including Trout, they have a 226 average, 766 OPS off him. Martinez might do okay in this game, but I don't trust his recent form. Yusei Kikuchi is pitching for Anaheim. I know you guys like to make fun of this guy's name. His numbers were all very bizarre as well. He has a 3.52 ERA, which is good, but a 1.44 whip, way too high. This guy, he walks too many guys, and he's been just getting away with it, man. I don't think that can really continue. He is good at home, though. 2.4 ERA at home. He's always been better at home, although his recent outings have not been very good. He has a 5.4 ERA this month, 17-7 strikeout walk ratio, not very good. Going back into last month, he's only gotten more than 5 1/3 innings once, going back into mid-July, allowing multiple runs in every outing at least, although he hasn't allowed more than 4 earned runs in any of those outings. But he's basically consistently going about 5 innings and allowing about 3 runs in every start, which is serviceable but not great. So he's not really as great as his ERA looks at the very least. His numbers against the Reds are pretty good, though, in 51 at-bats, 15-4 strikeout walk ratio, 216 average allowed, 704 OPS, slightly higher than you would think because he has allowed 3 home runs to them. But overall, Kikuchi does have kind of the better matchup numbers here. And I guess I would even say he's in slightly better form here. Money seems like it's kind of coming in on Cincinnati. Anaheim up from -120 to -130, but 54% of tickets, 59% of the cash coming in on Cincinnati. Don't know that I would want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with this game at all. And then the total looks like there is some market indication on the under. 70% of tickets on the over, 65% of the cash on the under, total at 8.5. So do with that information what you will. I don't even really have much of a lean on this game, to be honest. I mean, by default, you can kind of just go with the market indicators, but I mean, I like something more than just market indicators to back me up. And then we have San Francisco, San Diego. This is a big series. Even though San Francisco's pretty much out of it, San Diego's still fighting for playoff positioning. San Francisco, I think they want to beat San Diego because it's a big divisional series here. The teams have split the first 2 games of the series. With San Diego getting a little bit of quick revenge last night. Both bullpens are good. We have 2 of the top bullpen ERAs in all of baseball. Not a ton of bullpen usage really either. San Francisco maybe a little bit more, but just because they kind of used Seymour to eat up innings yesterday. So both bullpens still pretty intact here. The offense is not very good. San Diego has the better offense, and I would say the slightly better bullpen, although I think the bullpens are very much a wash. San Francisco's offense is really bad. San Diego's is not great either. And then the starting pitching matchup on the surface, you might think that San Francisco does have the advantage here, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Landon Raup pitching for the Giants here. 3.45 ERA, pretty good this year, but 1.45 whip is not good. He walks too many guys, man. And he's actually been significantly worse on the road with a 4.15 road ERA. His last start wasn't great. He went 3 innings, allowed 5 earned runs against Tampa Bay at home, where he's better. He's better at home, and it's a pitcher-friendly park, and he still didn't do that well, but did have 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, so his strikeout-walk ratio has been good over his last 3 starts, which is 19-3, which isn't that bad. And the prior 2 starts, he allowed 1 earned run combined against the Dodgers and Dodgers and Atlanta, So he was pitching fairly well over quite a bit of a stretch there. He had a nice run where he allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 6 straight starts prior to his last start. So maybe that last start was a little bit of a blip. His strikeout walk ratio still indicates his command was decent there. Numbers are decent against San Diego too. In 49 at-bats, better than decent. 13-6 strikeout walk ratio, 224 average allowed, 595 OPS. So even though San Diego has seen him now multiple times, he actually has been pretty good against San Diego. He pitched against them twice this year, had 1 bad start early in the season, didn't last 5 innings, allowed 4 earned runs, 3 walks. His more recent start, he went 6 1/3 and didn't allow any earned runs against them. And had a 5-2 strikeout walk ratio, 4 hits allowed, so he was better in that one. Overall, he is pretty good against San Diego, so we might get a good start out of him this time. Up against JP Sears for San Diego. San Diego got him in a trade with the A's, and then they basically immediately sent him to the minors, but he's back up now. I mean, I think he's good enough to stick in a major league rotation, man. 5.12 ERA, 1.31 whip, though, this year. Not exactly good. His home numbers, you see a 5.48 ERA, but all of those were with the A's. So you know the A's stadium is very hitter-friendly. So I'm not going to put much stock into that because the Padres have a way more pitcher-friendly ballpark, and he hasn't pitched here yet. Against the Giants, does have pretty good numbers. It's 72 at-bats because, of course, in that Bay Area rivalry there, when he was on the A's, he's seen the Giants a lot. Or they've seen him a lot, but they haven't done well against him. 22 strikeouts, 5 walks, 222 average, 620 OPS allowed. So I actually think Sears maybe even has a slight edge in this pitching matchup here. His 1 start with San Diego wasn't good. It was at Arizona, though, a very hitter-friendly park. He got bombed for 10 hits, 5 earned runs, not good, but 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. Wasn't exactly that bad, but immediately after that start, they sent him to the minors. But he's back up now, and he's in a better position here. He's in a better pitching park now against a much, much weaker lineup, so he might do a lot better in this game. So this game, I mean, to me, it actually almost seems like maybe kind of an under early in the game. Maybe even the full game because both bullpens are still good. So, yeah, maybe full game under is the best way to look at this game. 83% of tickets, only 68% of the cash on the over. Total dropped a little bit to 8 without juice. San Diego up from -135 to -147. 82% of tickets, 95% of the cash on San Diego. So the side looks like the money is kind of coming in on San Diego and backing Sears over Raup, even though his ERA is worse. So that is something to take notice of. And San Diego is better at home, so there might be something to that. But I think maybe the under is the better way to play that game. Pitcher-friendly park, offenses that aren't very strong, good bullpens, starting pitching that kind of flies under the radar and actually has good matchup numbers. So that's probably the way I would look in that game. Let's go to the best bets, man. We're an hour in. We'll do the best bets, and I'll get out of here. And we'll see when I decide to start talking about college football, man. If I want to do a college football preview show to tell you what I think about the conference breakdowns, which we already did an NFL preview show. You can go check that out. I did it with Clint. Bald, episode 3. You can go check that one out. And I did do a NFL season win totals as well, so you can kind of get a gauge for what I think is going to happen in the NFL through those two shows. I don't know as much about the personnel in college football. That's really the problem. Makes it really hard to gauge him, and I can look at the odds and stuff. But let's go to best bets here, man. The first one up, I think we're going to be on somewhat of a public side here, I think, but we're going to go Atlanta on the run line, even though I know they're at home. I know Atlanta's offense isn't exactly that good. They've been playing a little bit better since they kind of got over that mental thing where it's like, oh, well, we're dead this season. We're out of it. I know they're not going to be able to bat in the 9th inning if they're already winning, but I think they can get this done on the -1.5 here. It's a better price this way. If you wanted to go money line or split the bet, run line, money line, you could do that. But I think this shapes up nicely for Atlanta on this one. I think they might actually be a little bit under the radar. I understand this. They have 72% of tickets, only 69% of the cash. So they do look way too public here, but this matchup looks like it's all Atlanta to me, man. They're up from -163 to -182. So the money line did move way up on them, which is why I think the best way to do this is the run line here. If you want to go Atlanta over their team total, I don't really hate that either, with 67% of the cash on the over compared to 53% of the tickets, and the total's gone up a little bit to 9. So if you think Atlanta's going to score, maybe they will. But let's take a look at what we have going on here, man. I think Atlanta has the better bullpen anyway, because the White Sox bullpen is bad. I mean, they're kind of like a bottom tier bullpen here, man, almost in the bottom third. They've actually moved up a little bit recently, but Atlanta does still have the somewhat better bullpen here. And looking at the bullpen usage, Atlanta used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Not a ton of bullpen usage, really, not a ton of pitches thrown. White Sox bullpen has been used up kind of over the last couple of days. So they used 5 relief pitchers and then 4 relief pitchers. So I think Atlanta's bullpen is a little bit better here, so we can go full game here in the better scenario here. Offense, you got to give the edge to Atlanta here. I mean, this is a bad White Sox lineup. They're 3rd worst in all of baseball. Atlanta's is actually somewhat reasonable at least. I don't even know where they are here, but there they are, 13th. So Atlanta does have a much better offense. And then the starting pitching, man. I mean, this is kind of crazy what's going on here. Martin Perez is coming back for the White Sox here. He's an older journeyman pitcher who throws junk, basically. And you look at his numbers, 3.09 ERA, does look pretty good. 1.29 whip, not as good, a little bit higher than you would like to see. He's been bad on the road this year, 4.82 ERA, but it's in a limited sample because he only made 4 starts, early in the season, and basically the last 2 were pretty bad, both against the Red Sox, though. But then he went on the injured list, on the disabled list, and now he's trying to come back. So he already pitched once, so this isn't his first game back, which does mean he has that one outing under his belt, so that maybe means he'll pitch better here, but I'm going to show you why I don't think so in a second. He pitched against Detroit, his first game back, which was out of the bullpen, I'm pretty sure. Went 3 1/3 innings, 1 earned run allowed, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks. So he was decent against a decent lineup. So he did pitch okay in that game. He came out of the bullpen in relief of Shane Smith the last time Smith pitched before yesterday, I think. So Perez does have an outing under his belt that wasn't that bad, but you look at his stats over his career, man. I mean, he's not the greatest, mostly on Texas, and then his stats kind of lapsed more recently, but his career numbers are not great. 4.42 ERA, 1.44 whip. I remember him being on the Red Sox, and he really wasn't good, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but he's not a guy that strikes out many guys at all. He kind of walks too many guys. He's just not a great pitcher, man. He's just a guy that kind of fills out your rotation. And against Atlanta, over his history, they have 59 at-bats against them. They have a 322 average, 934 OPS, 9-5 strikeout walk ratio, 2 home runs that are both from Albies, who's 7 for 9 off him. So he does a lot of damage off him, but this lineup does damage off of Perez in general. So I'm going to go with who I think is the better pitcher, who probably is not getting a lot of accolades yet, which is Hurston Waldrop, ridiculous name, who is a rookie for Atlanta, and he's off and running, man. He has a 1.02 ERA, 0.79 whip, which I know he probably can't sustain that, but home and road basically has similar numbers, doesn't even matter, but he's won all 3 of his starts so far since starting to pitch in the majors, man. So he's off and running. I know, like I said, he probably can't keep this up. And I know he's done this against offenses that aren't terrific, with Cincinnati being the best one, then Miami, then Cleveland. But he's gone 5 2/3 innings or more in all 3 of them. He's allowed 1 or fewer earned run in all 3 of them. Has a 17-5 strikeout walk ratio and only 9 hits allowed in 17 2/3 innings. So he is not putting a lot of guys on base, not allowing a lot of runs. That's a good sign. And by the way, the White Sox lineup is actually probably the worst lineup that he's faced so far out of all of these, and they haven't seen him before, so they're completely unfamiliar with him. So I think he has an extra edge here. So he's actually stepping down in class to face a really, really bad offense. I know he's faced all bad offenses so far. And it's an offense that hasn't faced him before, which I think has helped him in his first few starts, the unfamiliarity edge here. Because I looked at Waldrop's numbers, and he was decent in AAA. He has a decent statistical profile. Nothing that looked like, oh, he's going to come out and just start blowing people away, but he's doing well so far, man. So I'm not really going to question it right now. I think Waldrop has the upper hand here, so we're going to go Atlanta run line in that game. Next up, we're going to do something I rarely do, and I'm going to play on a game where we don't even know who one of the starting pitchers is. Here you go, Zach. Kansas City Royals money line, plus 101. We'll keep the bullpens in. This is against Texas. I mean, Texas does have the better of the 2 bullpens. I don't think it's that significant, though. I mean, they're right ahead of them in ERA, 6th and 7th. Doesn't matter a whole lot. The Royals only used 2 relievers yesterday, using Zerpa to kind of eat up some innings there, too. So their bullpen's pretty intact here. Texas used a little bit more of their bullpen over the last couple of days, so the bullpen edge, I think, is just kind of a wash. So we're going to keep Kansas City's bullpen in, but Texas might have to go to their bullpen earlier because they don't even know who their starter is going to be. So when you play this game, you have to play action instead of starters must, listed starters must start, I think, because you don't know who Texas' starter is going to be. And you are making the assumption that Cameron is going to start for Kansas City. So that's the slight risk that if he, for some reason, winds up not pitching in this game, your action bet still goes and you have to just basically roll the dice on it. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he will start. So you play Kansas City action in this game, play them regardless of who Texas' starter is going to be. I don't think it's going to wind up being one of their really good starters. I don't think. Hopefully. So we're going to go action here, and hopefully Texas is going to go with some bullpen game. Like, hopefully it's going to be Kumar Rock or somebody like that here going for them where we have a decided edge here, because otherwise I don't see how you can make Kansas City an underdog with Cameron on the hill, man. Batting-wise, we're looking at 2 really bad offenses. As bad as Kansas City's offense is, Texas's is even worse. Even though Texas is actually worse at home than they are on the road, their offense is not good. Kansas City, by the way, did win yesterday. Seth Lugo actually pitched well again yesterday. I told you under in that game. I almost made a play on that one. I almost gave it out, and that was a play. I mean, it wasn't a play, but that would have been a winner if I did give that out as a play. Kansas City's won 5 games in a row, so they do have a little bit of momentum here, even though I know Texas is probably going to want to show up to try to avoid getting swept here. Although I think these teams might play tomorrow, too. I'm not even sure, but I can look real quick. But these teams are both playing for playoff positioning, man. They're both trying to make the playoffs still, so that's a big motivator for both teams. Yes, they do play tomorrow in the afternoon on getaway day. So that's what we have going on. But, I mean, a lot of this is just the starting pitching, man. I mean, you have undecided for Texas going up against Noah Cameron, who's the rookie for Kansas City, who you know I've given out plays on him several times this season. I think more of them have won than they've lost. The last time I did it, we got a win as a road favorite with Kansas City, and they're a home underdog this time. And again, I don't think they should be a home underdog with Cameron pitching. It's going to be Cameron indoor this time. 2.47 ERA, 1.06 whip on the season. Good numbers, obviously, especially for a rookie. I know he's a little bit worse at home, 2.81 ERA at home, although it is a pitcher-friendly park nonetheless. He's been a little bit shakier this month, not reaching 6 innings in his last 2 starts, but he's been good enough. I mean, he's allowed 1 run over that span, over 10 2/3 innings. I know he's faced some weak offenses recently, White Sox, Minnesota, Cleveland a few starts back, but he's done okay against some of these better lineups too. Had a decent start against the Cubs, pretty good, really good start against the Mets. Okay start against Toronto, so he's doing okay. But again, we don't have to worry about that here because Texas is a very weak offense. So I think he's better equipped to face Texas here. He does have a 2.6 ERA still this past month, or in August, I should say, even though his strikeout rate has gone down. 7-5 strikeout walk ratio isn't that great. The walk rate isn't that high. It's just the strikeout rate went way down. But I think he might be able to get that back up again. And Texas has never seen Cameron before. So I think that's a decided edge to Cameron as well here because he's totally unfamiliar to Texas. When you have these young pitchers that are unfamiliar to these opposing hitters, man, we're doing it in 2 of these games here. I think it's the right way to go. We're going to go with Kansas City in this game. Looking at the market, we don't really see much with the market yet. There's nothing to really go on with the market yet because it's an undecided pitcher. It's just dropped a little bit from Texas down to -122 to -120. But I just don't really see what makes Texas be that much of a favorite. Like, I don't see what really justifies that. So, yeah, let's go Royals. I'll be rooting for them today. I know you do that. I know you do that because as soon as I talk about the Royals, you jump in, Zach. So I know that. You played against Noah Cameron, like you not just betting. You mean you literally physically played against him. So you actually batted against Noah Cameron. Wow. Tell me more. I actually want to know. That's awesome, man. That's an awesome story, especially, dude, Cameron, he could wind up being something, man. And that's crazy if you get to say that you batted against him in high school. Tell me about it while I get this last bet up here. Which is, what is this last bet? I don't even remember what it is. Let me see. I know it's another side. Oh, I know what it is. It's another very good young pitcher here, so you might know what it is now. Because we're going to go Milwaukee Brewers money line here. And part of this is because of the bullpen rest scenario here, man. So I'm going to show you that in a second here. But I like Milwaukee in this game, man, to bounce back here. I know the Cubs, you could argue, have more motivation here because they're still way behind Milwaukee. They need to basically sweep Milwaukee in the series, which already they can't do because they actually lost the first game of the series, and which was supposed to be on a day with a doubleheader. And that second game of the doubleheader got postponed into yesterday. And yesterday, the Cubs won both of the games yesterday, so they swept the doubleheader yesterday. Both games were fairly close. 6-4 and 4-1. But after that, I think the Cubs might backslide a little bit in this game, man. I know they have to try to keep winning these games. I think they started, they came into this series, I think, 8 games behind Milwaukee. Now they're 7 games back. Yes, the Cubs need to keep winning, but Milwaukee obviously is going to show up too. They want to beat the Cubs too. They want to hammer the Cubs into the ground, man. So both of these teams have, a huge reason to play here. I think the bullpen edge is actually in favor of Milwaukee significantly here. Because if we look at what happened with the doubleheader yesterday, Milwaukee pretty much saved all their better relievers. They used Ashby, who comes in long relief a lot, and Tobias Myers, who's been in the starting rotation. So, like, all of their late relief men are available in this game today. And then you look at what the Cubs did yesterday. They literally used every single one of their relief pitchers yesterday. Only Ben Brown didn't come into the game, and he's been in and out of the starting rotation. So the Cubs, all their best relievers pitched yesterday, and they all threw double-digit pitches. So whoever they use today is going to have to go 2 straight days. I know they didn't use many of the guys the day before that, but still, this is a bullpen rest edge for Milwaukee here, man. Milwaukee didn't use too many of their guys the days before that either. So Milwaukee has a big-time rest edge here bullpen-wise. Both bullpens are fairly good, but you can see here, ERA-wise, Milwaukee's is actually slightly better on the season again now. So you got to give the bullpen edge to Milwaukee here. And seeing that Chicago, like, literally has no rested relievers here, that I looked at that and I was like, yeah, you got to fade the Cubs today, man. You got to do it. And then looking at the starting pitching matchup, I think that's an edge to Milwaukee as well. Offense, I think, is probably an edge to the Cubs, as they're sitting here at 6th in overall OPS. Milwaukee's down to 11th, but Milwaukee is better at hitting on the road. So I think that's a little bit of a wash as well. So I think Milwaukee should be good to go here, and I like their starting pitcher better, man. With Jacob Misiorowski pitching, I mean, he's the young phenom. We know what this guy is. He's coming out there, and he's throwing 100 miles an hour. more often than any other pitcher in Major League Baseball. It's crazy. I mean, I know he's been a little bit shaky, but he's really, really good. He's a looming 6'7" presence on the mound. He's only 23, so I think he's only going to settle down and become he's going to become an all-star pitcher, man. I mean, he literally already is. He was already on the all-star game, which I think was premature, but I think he's going to be like a valid all-star pitcher. Even this year, despite having a couple of bad starts in there, he has a 3.89 ERA, 1.13 whip. I know he's been way worse on the road here, 7.36 ERA, so we do have to worry about that a little bit, but I'm not as worried about it because if you look at what those starts were, one was at the Mets. Yeah, he had a shaky outing there, but he was kind of I think he might have been gearing up for the All-Star game at that point. He pitched really well against the Dodgers right after that, before he was about to pitch in the All-Star game. He did pitch against the Cubs once, and he was okay. He went 4 innings, was just inefficient with his pitches, but he held them to 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, so his outing against the Cubs was not that bad. And then he missed a little bit of time, and he was dealing with some injuries. And he has made 1 outing since coming back from his injury, and I know it was a really, really bad outing. Very bad. It was his worst outing of his career at Cincinnati, which Cincinnati is a hitter-friendly ballpark. He only went 1 1/3 innings, gave up 5 earned runs, didn't allow any homers, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. I understand. Bad start from Miz. But I'm going to give him a pass for that because it was his first game back from being injured. I think he's going to settle back in. He's going to do better here. I know the Cubs have seen him now, so the Cubs are familiar with him. But when you have as much talent as he does, Les Mis here, I don't think it's going to be Les Mis for us here. I don't think it's going to be very miserable. I think he's going to do well again against the Cubs. His overall numbers just in that one start were quite good. 17 at-bats, 3 hits, no extra base hits from the Cubs' entire lineup that they have going today. 8 strikeouts, 2 walks, 176 average, 440 OPS. So I think Miz is going to come out and pitch well here, man. That's just the way that it is. I'm rhyming. I'm a poet here. And I didn't know it. And he's going up against Colin Ray, who, you know me, man. You have a young fireball pitcher up against an old veteran who doesn't throw hard, and Colin Ray. You know which way I'm going to go here. Even though Ray is having a decent season for the Cubs, 3.99 ERA, 1.28 whip. He is a little bit worse at home, 4.13 ERA. Hasn't been quite going as deep into games recently. He's gone 5 or fewer innings in all but one of his starts, going all the way back into mid-July. I had a bump where he allowed 5 and 4 earned runs a couple of starts ago. Oh, yeah, and who was one of those starts against? Oh, yeah, it was Milwaukee, at Milwaukee. So Ray actually did not pitch well against Milwaukee, which I believe is one of his former teams is Milwaukee as well. He went 4 innings in that one, gave up 4 earned runs, 9 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. So he didn't pitch well. I know he bounced back a little bit, and this month he does have a 2.3 ERA and 15-5 strikeout walk ratio. I get that. Hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any of these outings, but it was against Baltimore, St. Louis, and Pittsburgh, man. I mean, Baltimore, he didn't even go 5 innings in the game. Baltimore's not a good offense. St. Louis has been one of the worst offenses in baseball over the last couple of months, and Pittsburgh is the worst offense this season. So he's been a step way up in class to face Milwaukee here. And in 20 at-bats, they have 9 hits off him, man. 450 average, 976 OPS. Surprisingly, he hasn't had a whole lot of a history against Milwaukee. But that recent start against him was really bad. And I know it's probably because he's been on Milwaukee recently. So up until this year, he was on their team. So that's probably why a lot of them haven't faced him that much. But I think Milwaukee, because he was on their team, they also know his tendencies and stuff. So I think this is definitely an edge to the Brewers here. We're going with it, especially with the bullpen. So obviously we want to go full game here to keep the bullpens in. Milwaukee's up from -110 to -111 here on the money line. 71% of tickets, 73% of the cash on Milwaukee. So even though they're a public road favorite, I mean, Milwaukee's the hot commodity. But I think after losing both games yesterday, I think the public might not be as heavy on them as they would be otherwise. It looks to me like the market read is saying Milwaukee, and the total is very low. It's down from 7 to very heavily juiced on the under 7, which it's basically 6.5. 54% of tickets on the over, 86% of the cash on the under. Money all coming in on the under. I would never go under a 6.5, especially because I don't really trust Ray in this matchup or the Cubs bullpen being just totally out of sorts here. So there's no way I would go under full game in this one, but it must mean the wind's blowing in Wrigley, man. I think it was blowing in yesterday too, but you see a low total like this, that means that the lake wind is blowing in here at Wrigley, and it is going to knock some of these balls down, which I think might help Misiorowski because I think he might have the tendency, because he throws so hard, if guys make contact with him, there's a tendency that those balls are going to skyrocket. So I think that might help him a little bit more as well. So that's the breakdown there, man. So once again, the 3 plays: Atlanta Braves run line, Kansas City Royals money line, and Milwaukee Brewers money line. So we got 3 baseball plays today. That's going to do it. Zach, I'm going to listen to your story here. You didn't know it was Noah Cameron, St. Joseph Central. All right. You played against Ashby too. Dude, why are you not in the majors with them? What's going on here? So that's crazy, man. So you must be somewhere out in the Midwest. Well, you're in the Kansas City area, right? Yeah, because you root for Kansas City. So these are all Kansas City guys. That's crazy. So Noah Cameron's actually a local guy, and he's playing for his local team. That's a good story, man. I didn't even know that was the case. So that's a cool story. And then, yeah, Ashby playing for the Brewers. Yeah, interesting, man. That's cool. I appreciate it, man. It's story time with Zach. I wish I had a graphic for that, but thank you, man. I did not know really any of that. That's awesome. So you get to tell people that. You got to face multiple major league pitchers. You'll have to let me know how well you hit against them, but I got to get out of here, man. Everybody, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. It's Learn to Toad on Twitter, Learn to Toad on Instagram, where I do post the short content. Sorry I went a little bit earlier today, but I woke up earlier. Just getting stuff done today, man. Bettor Off Dead, obviously, YouTube, like, subscribe to the channel, do all the things. It helps me out, obviously. We're on the audio as well, Spotify, Apple, help me out there. Review the show as well. And then we got Covered in Uke, my ukulele YouTube project that's over there where I post my uke covers. Got to get that going with more uke covers, man. They're all on my phone here, so the problem is that I got to get those uke videos all off of my phone, man, and actually identify them, because I'm a mess, man. I'm disorganized with it, completely disorganized with those. So I got to somehow do that and maybe start dripping some of the old covers onto the YouTube channel. And then there is a Spotify feed with them as well. If you go to patreon.com/learntotoad, there is a uke Spotify feed at one of the higher levels, and at the highest level, which nobody is doing right now. Nobody's on it, but you get prioritized requests as well. I'm going to try to get Twitter subscriptions as well. They denied me the first time, and now the application won't go through. So I might have to contact Premium, or I don't even know, man. I got to get something going. But that's going to do it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Let's have a good Wednesday. Hump day, baby. Let's hump these bets today, and peace.